Hi, good morning. So I'm coming to you from my sister's house, my messy bedroom in here. Um, but I've been getting a bunch of different questions over the last month about how I quit smoking weed. And I'm like, how do I want to explain this? How do I want to talk about it? Because to me, this has been such a long process. I used weed for 10 years. The first few years were just like in college and it was fun and it wasn't really like a daily habit. It was just something that I enjoyed doing and occasionally. But as I got older, as I started getting into the workforce, as I became, as I became an adult and I was like unhappy in different ways, I started using this as a numbing mechanism, as a coping mechanism for my feelings. And I didn't think that I was doing it that way until about a month ago. So I want to just share honestly what my experience has been, because I remember being really, really frustrated looking at YouTube videos like how to stop smoking weed, and people are like, oh, I smoked for like a week, or I smoked once when I was X age. And I was like, these people don't understand my experience, where it's like 5 years of smoking a million times a day and still not getting the feelings I wanted from it. So this is going to be for you if you struggle with using cannabis, not if you're like, an occasional user. This is going to be for you if you want to quit, but you haven't been able to. And if you feel a lot of judgment around that, around yourself. So for me, I've quit a few different times, but it never really lasted. But I'm realizing now, all of the times that I quit before, it was really with this filter of I'm bad for smoking. I should feel ashamed about this. No one will understand. People will judge me. No one will want me as their coach, as their healer, if they know this part about me, if they know that I'm like coping in this way. And it always came from a very shameful place of like, I need to stop so that I can then be good enough. I need to stop so that then I can actually be a leader. I need to stop so that then X, Y, Z. So check in with yourself right now. What is the reason that you want to stop? I quit a few months ago, and I quit for a very different reason this time. And my whole attitude towards it is completely different now. Before I would quit, but if it was in front of me, I would be like salivating. Like I would have to hold myself back from using it. And that didn't feel good to me. I always wanted to be like, I want it to be able to be in front of me, and I say no. And that's an easy decision. So check in first. What is your motivation for stopping? For me, for a long time, I didn't like the amount of control that cannabis had over me. I didn't like how I felt about myself, saying, oh, I'm going to quit next week, and then I order more, or I go to the dispensary and get more. That affects your trust in yourself. That affects your confidence deeply. When you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, you're like letting yourself down, right? So, that was years of doing that. When I quit, it would be, one time I quit because I was doing this 6-month coaching program, but the second that the coaching program stopped, I was back to the old habit. I never really addressed the underlying things behind it. Another time I had my DUI, so I was on probation. So I was really like forced. I didn't choose that, and it was the same thing with that. The second the 9 months ended, the second I got off of probation, I went straight back to the habit, and nothing had changed either. It was like the tolerance didn't even change. So this time it was really different. This time it came from a space of, a lot of people have been asking me this, because I've shared with like clients this struggle, and I've shared with close friends this process, but I haven't really shared it with everybody. So I want to do this now because I want it to help someone. And feel free to message me if you have any follow-up questions about this, or you just want someone to share with, because I get that sometimes it feels like the people around you don't get it, and you feel like you might be judged, or you might feel, any of those types of things. So I'm here if you need to share anything. But for me, this time it was really different. I decided I really want to be a facilitator of the Akashic Records. And in order to do that, I need to be in a pure space 100%. I can't be, what happens is with your aura, when you're facilitating Akashic Record readings, or doing really any kind of spiritual work, even just meditation, anything where you're getting really clear with yourself, what will happen is that then your aura kind of becomes fuzzy. And so the answers you get, the guidance you get is not going to be as clear as it could be. And for me, what happened was I decided I'm going to be an Akashic Records facilitator because I was not first of all, let's just address this. I think that most people associate stoners with like, being lazy and doing nothing. And for me, it was the opposite. I was so productive. And when I didn't smoke, I would be lazy. Totally the opposite. So there's a stigma with stoners that you aren't going to get anything done. And for me, it was like when I would smoke, I would be like it would be like I had 5 cups of coffee, So first we want to just address that everyone reacts differently to this. So this time I decided I need to stop just so I can be pure. But what really changed my stance on all of this was learning about the auric effects of drugs and alcohol. And I don't hardly ever drink anymore, so that's not really a thing for me. But using cannabis obviously was. And even other things like mushrooms or other plant medicines do affect your aura in this way. So what happens is our aura can develop holes in it. When we are using cannabis, we go into the 4th dimension, which is why, if you have pain and you're using it for that, you're literally moving up into the 4th dimension. Your body is still here in the 3rd dimension, this physical dimension, but the pain seems to lessen because as you rise into different dimensions, there's less density. So you feel less pain, you feel more airy and flowy and free. If you've ever had like a really intense healing, you've likely gone to a higher dimension and you feel afterwards sometimes really tired. Like a lot of times when I do Akashic Record readings, people are like, oh, I slept for 2 hours after, because your body isn't used to that higher dimension. So it's not that it's bad, it's just that it takes a little bit of an adjustment because we're used to being in the 3rd dimension, right? So anyways, when you're in the 4th dimension using cannabis, what happens is that you expose yourself to all these different beings that are in the 4th dimension. Some of them are love and light, or of love and light, but some of them aren't. Some of them are spirits that can't cross over, that don't know how. They're stuck because either their vibration is low and they're clinging to like anger and bitterness and different things. They don't know how to cross over, or they're staying for some sort of reason. And a lot of times it's not a reason that you want in your field. Okay, so when I learned that, I have different medium gifts where I can see certain things sometimes. And so I knew the people who were hanging around me, and I realized I'm exposing myself actually in a dangerous way. And especially if you're someone like so many of you guys who follow me are doing different, you are healers, you are coaches, you are leaders in different ways, and you're holding space for a lot of people in different ways. And you got to protect yourself. So even if you don't stop, before you smoke or before you take an edible or before you do whatever, method you like, make sure that you protect yourself. Make sure that you set an intention. Make sure that you're going into this in like a ceremonial way, not like I had an annoying day, so I'm just going to smoke and watch TV and like let loose a little. Make sure that you're very, very intentional. I'm protecting myself. I'm moving into this space with love and light surrounding me. I'm having my energy bubble with gold and white light, however you want to do it. Even using different essential oils. If you use doTERRA, On Guard is really good. Having different crystals around you, wearing different crystals. So that's the first piece. And that's really what changed for me this time when I decided I'm not going to smoke anymore. And for me, it's not like a lifetime decision. I may use it again, but it's never going to be in that dependent way again, where it's a daily thing. Like I don't ever want to go back to that. But it's very interesting because as soon as I came from this from a spiritual perspective, rather than I'm not good enough, I'm bad for doing this, etc., everything changed and it was really easy for me to stop. And the last thing I want to say, because I'm about to run out of time, when you stop smoking weed, you will be able to go into higher dimensions so much easier. I've had so many higher experiences that are so much better than smoking weed. Like the different realms I've gone into, because I'm not tethered in this 4th dimension, it's really exciting and really powerful. So I hope that excites you a little if you are someone who's doing a lot of healing work and you lead these types of things and So anyways, feel free to message me if you want to learn more about this, but I hope that this supported you, and sending you lots of love. Bye.